Hello, the name's Bremen, and I'm here to showcase my uh, journey so far in Great New Horizons. My HV just before getting to the moon uh, a base tour. I decided to do this as my milestone, just before getting to the moon, because once I go to the moon, do a moon dungeon, get the PDM, and redesign my entire base from scratch. Or rebuild it, rather. So, this here is where I started. Most of this area has been gutted. All that really remains is my old steam tank and creosote tank. And these two, as well as the nether portal, which I still use. Um, but I do have, thankfully, some pictures from the time. So let's look at that. This is the first picture I have. Here you can see the BBF, my paper bark tree, some fruit trees, the seared brick. Um, I built that one myself. Didn't do the steal it from a village route because my first run, a little scared of the hey, you won't get any rewards. So I did it all manually. Today I probably would have just stolen one. Oh well. Um, in here we see the start of the workshop. Originally this room didn't exist. It was just this here to this here was just a wall. Um, but then I started getting into machines as well as Tinker's tools, and I desperately needed more space. So I built this up. Here you can sort of see that's the steam tank back there, which is what we have right there. And then there's the creosote tank, which you've also now seen. I put the pipe here, but at the time I did not realize that I needed the pump as well, so that was a bit unnecessary. Cotton farm. Don't know why there's a random bit of snow there. If we then go here, this was going to be my second base, my like next base as I was getting into LV because I was quickly running out of space. But it was also when I started looking at multi-blocks, and I pretty much immediately realized this was not gonna be enough, not even close. So this is about as far as I got to making that next base before I pretty much completely abandoned it. So, but otherwise, I was prepared to build out here and start pumping the oil. I think here I was going to have farms, and then this was just going to be general expansion space, and I was going to do this sort of more circles basically, but wasn't a huge fan of it. And working in here, putting down the structures, I realized I didn't have a lot of wall space, wasn't very good, abandoned it. Um, my initial sort of short-term goal was to reach LV, which, as you can see here, I did manage to do. And that was because, like, the reason why that was my first goal was because at that point I could say that I had truly gotten started. Because a lot of the time you're like, you see a lot of videos of a pack being played and you decide, oh hey, I'm gonna get into that too. And then you spend like 6 hours playing it hardcore that day, and then the next day you have completely lost all desire to continue. Just for no real reason. I'm sure we all experience that to one degree or another. And so reaching LV was sort of my way of saying, no, this isn't just a 2 week Minecraft phase kind of thing, which is doubly important as most of the time I just like playing Vintage Story instead. But I'm not here to cause a debate on that whole thing. GregTech is amazing, I can say that much. Um, so once I reached this point, I was like, okay, this is actually a thing now that I'm doing. And that's when I started talking to some friends about it. And one friend in particular who likes technological packs is my friend Lyze, Lyze. Um, so I invited him. This was using LAN at the time, or well, an old tool that allowed me to turn internet to LAN because I couldn't be bothered hosting a server. This was just easier. It is now instead hosted on his server because he is a complete programming nerd and uses Linux and has a server rack, so um, kudos to him. And so he started helping me out with a lot of things, but this picture was taken pretty much moments before I started gutting this base. So, getting back into the game, this is now all that remains. Paper Park's tree is still there, as is the creosote, or creosote? What am I saying? The sear tank. The creosote is also still there, but yeah. Now, if we run on back, I have to apologize for the lag. I still wanted to show the base off in its prettiest format, but undeniably, without recording, it's a complete stable 60, but whilst also recording, it's a little rough. So this is my base as it looks now. Oh, by the way, this is after about 322 hours. My friend has got a good 40 as well. Um, he hasn't done a ton of the uh, progression itself, but he has helped me in many key moments and also done some stuff that I could never hope to do, especially over there, which we'll get to. I also want to acknowledge one thing, and that is the ways that I have cheated in this pack. And number one is that I have um, built in Creative Cosmetics. I just want to have a pretty base. I don't want to have to deal with farming 50 billion white marble and qubits just to live in a place that I actually enjoy being in. No thanks. So I build in creative. But of course, the machinery and so on is all survival. The only other stuff that I've done, especially when I was just using the bricked blast furnace, I would occasionally um, just throw a stack of iron, two stacks of coal coke, and just spawn in a stack of steel because I didn't want to wait and I didn't want to build a second BBF. That one you can definitely argue is a bit cheating, right? It's sort of part of the game to do the logistical throughput and whatnot, but I didn't want to deal with that. It was that or just sit there AFK. So this is the base as it is now. We can start with the lesser of the two main locations. This, by the way, is meant to be the sort of launching platform for the rocket. As you can see, I didn't quite finish it, but that's because I realized I could get to the moon faster than I thought. At first, when I started making this, I had built the implosion compressor, and then it was like, okay, all I have to do is get some TNT and then speedrun to the mainframes. But when I had built the mainframes, I asked myself, okay, what do I actually need to fuel it? And that's when I saw the like ExxonMobil chemical plant in the weird stuff it needed and all that stuff. And then I took a break and just started building this. Then I found out that there is a quest here in MV, specifically this guy, which can just give you a stack of cetane boosted diesel, which you can see I have here, and that will fuel several trips with the rocket. So then I was like, okay, I want to get to the moon already. So I just did that, and now I have the fuel. Um, so this location, let's step in here. This is the benzene base, or the benzene location. These screens, totally cheated. Don't care. They are purely for cosmetics. This is my friend Lies testing out some code that he found for displaying liquids. This is one that he programmed entirely himself, um, though I have somewhat broken it, in particular the current status, which is meant to say running whenever the distilleries are running. Though I ripped those out recently and replaced it with a distillation tower and haven't told him yet, so that's something for him to enjoy doing. Um, Beyond that, there's the main buffer tank. Here is the actual distillation area. I built it in a way where I wanted to be able to easily sort of duplicate this onto the next sort of area. So I could just stack them alongside each other. That's why I have this sort of like main benzene pipe here and have space for 3 more. This ended up not really being necessary. Benzene is still hard carrying me quite far. Um, but I still want to show it off. So I've got my pyrolyze oven, which is the main bottleneck of this space. Back here, you have the storage along with the open computers, networking stuff. Here is just pipe dream. If we just leave that then, not think about that any further, we have the fluid extractors that is turning the charcoal from the pyrolyze oven into more wood tar, which then these distilleries is meant to convert to benzene. Though the pipe that was here has been ripped out and is now just a pipe here. Well, one of these 5 pipes at least out of the distillation tower. So with that, the main benzene then goes into the tank just behind there, which then goes out through to here and then along here, because I wanted this because that looked cool rather than just hiding in the wall here. And then it goes along here and into there. This second pipe here doesn't actually do anything yet. I just wanted it for decoration. This is the tank itself. It was ungodly expensive. That's more or less it. Here we have a diversion of the benzene that goes over to the main base, which is the bit we'll get to now. Here is my toluene from the distillation tower. Moving on. Oh yeah, I can just use this guy. Here is the main workshop. Let's take it from the outside. I mean, really, I can just go into game mode spectator. From here, you can see sort of the main structure. This is where the magic happens, so to speak. The smeltery, the old macerator, the EBF, explosion compressor, what remains of my LV machines. Over here I have my sort of main random storage, my main resource storage, main manual crafting machines, some more here, some other chests with random shite in it. Here we have the auto crafting area. This was also an ungodly amount of work. You haven't even seen the rat's nest yet. If we fly up here, there's more here. Really proud of how this turned out. Never really made use of this space. Here we go into the main sort of staircase. This is a secret door. You can see in the bottom right, carpenter's door. Go through here. We have the sort of back end area. This was my first wood farm. Wood stored there. Sent up along here to the endless coke ovens to get charcoal and creosote, which then goes back down through the rat's nest. Creosote, charcoal, steam buffer, and then just under here I sort of crammed in from this farm some polyethylene production. Then here, where it was just convenient to place it, I put the cooling for Canthal and solar grade silicon. Here is the main storage wall for a bunch of resources, raw ore, crushed ore, impure and regular dust, for just everything that I am currently able to get, at least, well, most of it anyways. This is the underground of the auto crafting area, I believe, yes. Bit of a mess down here, but oh well. Everything down here is a mess, really. Down here is the clean room, which the design of which I stole straight from Threefold, I think it is. So credit him for that. And up here we have the creation of silicon to solar grade silicon, where you put in the I forget what it is, but it's a byproduct of clay dust. I think I have like some stacks of it like over here somewhere. Silicon dioxide, right. You put silicon dioxide, you get solar grade silicon. Here you put in sodium there, sulfur there, and you get sodium persulfate. And that's it for that. I built a big area over this way. This was going to be my chemical processing area, and this was inspired by a different base tour. If you just search up GTNH MV base tour, you'll likely find that video where he had a area that was sort of lowered down like this. And I thought that was cool. I wanted to do something similar. I built this when I realized. Also, I'm gonna turn off the shaders because you can see there's weird things going on. I built it when I realized that I was going to need to make cetane boosted diesel, which looked like an absolute nightmare. Turns out you don't. You can just go to the this quest here, speeding up slow machines, make one of these, and that gets you a stack as a choice reward. just do that. That's a tip for anyone trying to go to space. Don't bother making cetane boosted diesel yet. Just do the quest, get to the moon, get applied energistics, and start rethinking it from there. But um, this was before I knew of that quest, so I built this whole area. Unlikely that I'm actually going to use it. It also sort of leaks into this area, which is a bit of an oopsie, but oh well. What else is there to show off? I guess I can do some shots from weirder angles so that you can truly see some of the rat's nest madness of me just sort of placing down. Like there's the autocrafters, and just the madness of me putting machines underground just about everywhere here and there. Here's automated molten rubber. Um, Here are the crop farms. Um, this room, I was going to put like ME drives along these walls here, and then have like ME axes here. But that was before I decided I was going to use a PDIM. At first, I was against using a PDIM because I like building in natural environments, so to speak. But over time, the idea of just not having to deal with hostile mobs, it's starting to win me over, and I'm probably going to do a PDIM. Which is another reason why I want to show this base off now, because once you get to the moon, that's when you just get a PDIM, which stands for personal dimension. So, yeah, I think that's more or less it in terms of showing off what the base is like now. Oh, credit where credit is due. I stole the base concept of this from, let me see if I can grab the image. Here we go. From this, which you see in the loading screen when you boot up GTNH, or this is one of the things that you see. I really like the sort of diagonal lines going on here and the circular sort of hole that you launch out from. So I recreated it, but with my own sort of style. So it sort of looks like a targeting thing. It's kind of cool. I also stole a good chunk of the palette from Neurotic Goose's series with the dark grey and the white, though with different blocks, of course. This sort of angled, or this sort of square but with a beveled edge, I also stole from the MV Base Tour video, which I should have probably grabbed the. Actually, let me just do that real quick. If I just search MV Base Tour, this is how you can tell I don't have a script. Paperclip Tank. Paperclip Tank's GTNH MV Base Tour. He has a section that looks kind of like this, with the up, diagonal, straight, and I totally stole that design from him. By the way, these are colored lights that are attached to the system here. If the buffer here goes to below 60%, those lights turn orange. If it goes below 30, they turn red. I don't have a convenient way of showing that right now, in particular because I don't know how this thing works. That was entirely to the credit of my friend Lice, who was also doing some testing here. He is absolutely fantastic at what he does. He is even helping me set up some holographic display stuff. Let me see if I can quickly grab a picture of what he is toying with. If we open that, here we are. Here's some of the stuff that he is toying with. That includes him being able to turn .vox Magica voxel files, which at first, to their credit, there is a tool for that, for turning Magica voxel vox files to open computers print 3D files. But then he made his own one because the online tool doesn't have positional data in case you're doing things that takes more than one block, like this is 2 blocks tall. And if you want to do really silly big ones, like say this guy, this is the little one you saw in the here, 2 blocks tall. I want to do something like this big, so you kind of need positional data of knowing which block is which. Especially if you then want to do it as a hologram, which he is also working on. As you can see here, I want to give tons of credit to him. He is fantastic, very talented at doing programming stuff. We have lots of plans, or I have lots of plans that I'm then forcing him to implement, but you know, ain't that how it always works? There's the creative and then the guy who actually gets it done. So he is wonderful and does a lot of that stuff. He has also helped me. If we go to leaderboards, minutes played, I have so far done about 320 hours. He has done about 40. Um, as as I mentioned before, this did start as sort of my run through, and then I invited him to help me out, and he has been such a help with doing a lot of uh, tedious tasks that I didn't want to deal with. There's this old sugar beet mutation crop farm, and he did some of the programming. He helped me make the mainframes to get to the rocket. Yeah, he's helped me with a lot of crucial stages. So he doesn't have the hours that I do, but he's still been an instrumental help and deserves credit. Um, okay, so last thing that I want to do is just show off a couple more pictures. This is the base at the beginning. You can see the sort of tall windows here and the circular window that became this right here. You can also see the beginning of this line here with right here. I just sort of begun. Um, I posted a later picture of this that looked a lot more like what it looks now. And someone pointed out an interesting observation that this features a sort of mix between medieval architectural style and a neon slash futuristic palette, which entirely unintentional, but a really good observation because 99% of my Minecraft building um, time has been spent making castles because I just really like building castles. Always have, always will. And yeah, it was interesting how they were able to catch that. Indeed, I took a lot of design elements that I normally take from castles, like these big sort of cathedral-esque windows and this quarter circle. Basically, every castle I've built has had this quarter circle. It's not a castle design idea, but it's something that I always implement in my castles. Though usually as like a connecting hallway, but this I built as the main room. So moving on, I was using Distant Horizons and was enjoying the view. There's my OG base. Here I had expanded it a bit further, started on the lower farm here where I got the stick reeds, the glowflower, blaze reed, and sugar beets. It was kind of a mistake setting this up because I hadn't accounted for creating buffer space between this and the roof. So in the actual location, there is constant dripping, which not ideal, but oh well. I was also starting to play around with adding like more accent color. I wanted this really green nature overrun kind of thing, which turned out pretty cool. I will point out, someone will probably notice it, so I'll point it out so that everyone else notices it and can share the pain. This circle is super wonky, and it only becomes a bigger problem out here. I totally eyeballed it. Normally I do better than this, but yeah. Also, this is the middle here, and this is the middle here, and these do not line up. Bit of an oopsie. I don't remember if I fixed that one, but there's other lineup issues here and there. Oh well, couldn't be bothered fixing it. Here's some more shots. Really proud of how this turned out. It was great. A distant shot. This tower ended up being too small. When I built it, I didn't really know what I was gonna do with it, and then I decided to put the coke ovens in there. Um, Here's more shots. This is where I had the solar grade silicon and the sodium persulfate, which I believe I showed off main workshop before I put anything in it. You can already see the dripping. Here it is from a distance. I was just having a good time. This is just my screenshot folder. Um, you can see here, as I said, I hadn't accounted for how big the cook ovens were gonna be, so they didn't really fit into the tower, so I had to break a chunk of the tower to fit it all. Starting storage, some distant horizons pictures. My first oopsie. That was rough. Basically, back to the steam age with me. Oh, that was so painful. But I think that is about it, really. I want to thank you all for listening to me ramble without a script. Really proud of what I've done so far. And if we're lucky, you maybe get to see me again whenever I've hit a new major milestone and have something to really show off and do another tour with. But for now, I am gonna head off to space. Um, but these 300 hours have been so much fun, and GTNH has really proven to be a spectacular adventure, and the community as well has been really wonderful. Um, so yeah, thank you for giving me your time. Hopefully next time I won't be as rambly. And yeah, alright. I will maybe see you in the future. Bye bye.